What's up, y'all? This is the new Game of Inches series that I have going here on Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn, where I talk about where Auburn can go from good to great. And this week, or this particular episode, we're featuring Seth Williams. We're going to show and illustrate how some little things could have taken Seth Williams all the way to the next level. Hope you all enjoy it. What's up, guys? Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking about Auburn football. Specifically, tonight I want to talk about Seth Williams. All right, so Seth Williams bears the number 18. He is actually from the state of Alabama, a really highly regarded recruit out of Paul W. Bear Bryant High School in Cottondale, Alabama, as a four-star recruit. Now, he stands at about 6'3", about 220 pounds. He is, stature-wise, poised to be or continue to develop as one of the elite wide receivers in the SEC. There was actually an article that came out that talked about who the top 5 receivers were coming into the 2020 season. And unrighteously so, Seth Williams was actually an honorable mention on this list. Now, a good reason why Seth Williams is probably an honorable mention on a list like this is you got to look at the body of work. I'm not going to even talk about the 2018 season because that was, his freshman year. He had a lot of great things going on. He had one of the game winners against Texas A&M, and showed a lot of promise as an elite wide receiver in the SEC, which he continues to do so. Big shout out to Seth Williams. I think he has an opportunity to really make some things happen. But when we look at realistically, sometimes the Auburn fan base and, just followers of football in general, they look at moments and not really look at the total body of work. Now, the moment look will tell you, oh yeah, he had the game winner against Oregon. He had a pretty good showing against Mississippi State, a pretty decent showing against Georgia. But in order for Seth Williams to really take his game to an elite status, first of all, he's got to be targeted more by Bo Nix. And I think that's going to be something that could be in the works. Because if we look at Seth Williams' work last year, you're talking about 59 receptions, 830 yards. Not really that bad. But to be a premier receiver, and you're the leading receiver on your particular team, 830 yards at 14.1 yards per catch is not going to get you to that status. Okay? Now, where is the help going to come from for Seth Williams? Well, number one, I think Auburn will probably utilize the tight end a lot more. I think their offense can show some signs of being a lot more balanced under Chad Morris. I mean, his body of work speaks for itself. He has a knack for developing just an offensive strategy that works. Okay, so I think Gus Malzahn, huge if, and we'll know right off the gate if Gus Malzahn is going to give the keys to Chad Morris. And as a professional, as a person who has not only been a decent offensive coordinator, probably prematurely took a job at Arkansas that he was set up to fail to begin with, but a seasoned coach in the Power 5 circuit, I just think it's time for Gus Malzahn to give up play calling, maybe play more of a consultant type role, and allow Chad Morris to earn his dollars. Just like he's allowing Kevin Steele, the defensive coordinator, to earn every bit of the multi-million-dollar contract that he has. Now, back to Seth Williams. Seth Williams has the capability. He has the size. He has the speed. He definitely has the education of the game to really be a game changer in the SEC, to be in the same conversation as some of the elite wide receivers in the SEC. Because let's just really look at this. We're talking about Seth Williams, right? We're talking about his body of work. last season. And I'm going to show something on this particular video, some stats that I kind of swiped from ESPN.com and kind of really illustrate to you the opportunity that Seth Williams had and the type of inconsistency of Auburn's offense from last year as to how Seth Williams probably statistically could have been the best wide receiver in the SEC. So we look at Oregon, 4 catches for 41 yards. I mean, okay, I get it. It's the first game of the year. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to figure out, everybody's role. Auburn it's just a shaky first game, okay? Then you talk about Tulane. That was a game where he actually got hurt. He had a shoulder injury in that particular game. Then he comes back for the Texas A&M game, 4 receptions for 47 yards. Now, I just need Seth Williams to double that. I need him to have 8 receptions for at least 100 yards. That gives you an extra 50 yards on the radar right there, right? Then you go to the Mississippi State game where he absolutely balled out, 8 receptions, 161 yards. Then a pretty decent game against Florida. I just think he should have been targeted a little bit more. I think in a game like this, a game like Florida, you need to have 8 receptions for 113 yards, okay, to help supplement your offense. Then moving on to Arkansas, I think if he would have been targeted more, he probably could have had 10 catches for a little over 200 yards in that game, right? LSU, that is a tough game. You talk about going against one of the better secondaries in the country, a very good defensive line. I'll take 4. I'll take 4. You know what? No, I won't. In a game like this, you're an elite wide receiver. A game like this, I think I'm going to take 7 receptions for, instead of 65 yards, 7 receptions for like between 90 and 100 yards. Okay. The Mississippi State game, back to the mediocrity. 6 catches, 46 yards, 7.7 yards per catch. Are you guys really seeing the inconsistency of Seth Williams, right? Then he balled out. But the thing is, he had 13 catches for 121 yards against Georgia. But, man, those are some hard-earned yards. 9.3 yards per reception in a game like Georgia, where you need to open some things up. Now, mind you, if you all look at that game, a lot of the reasons why he only had 9.3 yards per catch was the majority of the passes thrown to him in the Georgia game were slant routes. And they kind of couldn't stop it. He's bigger than most of the nickelbacks, and he's a little bit faster than the typical linebacker. So they just slanted Georgia to death, and that's where all that came about. Sanford, okay, cool, I get it. But then you go to the Alabama game. 3 catches, 66 yards. That's not what's going to get you to the elite status. You're the premier receiver on Auburn's football team. In a game like Alabama, I know those guys are tough. They recruit very well, and they're very, very talented on defense. But in a game like this, I need you to have at least 8 receptions for 150 yards in a game like this. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it has to happen to get to elite status. Seth Williams, well on his way to being a very good receiver at Auburn. I think he needs to be targeted more. I think he needs to be targeted more consistently and also run routes that fit his skill set. He's definitely lethal on the post route. I think he can do a little bit more digging, those dig routes. Hot routes will be beneficial to him as well. But I really look forward to seeing continual progress from Seth Williams, year 1, year 2, now year 3 for Seth Williams. I think has the potential and probably will make it happen. All right, let's get this comment section active. Go ahead and leave your comments. Also, leave a like or share or whatever you want to do. Auburn football is in full effect. Auburn football commentary is in full effect. Go ahead and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. We're pushing the agenda to get to 3,000 subscribers by kickoff. Hoping that it happens. Thinking it's going to happen. But we want to be at 3,000 subscribers by kickoff to where we can really get this thing going. We're going to start back with the live streams really soon. I'm actually upgrading some of my software to make that happen And as always, it is excellent. It's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.